Hello, everyone, and welcome to the U.S. Update Immigration. We've been tracking Visa Bulletin releases closely for years now, and as we roll into January 2026, the latest bulletin carries important signals that many applicants have been waiting to see. The January Visa Bulletin has already been published by the U.S. Department of State. And while it does not deliver dramatic movement across all categories, it brings some meaningful gains in key employment based preferences and a stable foundation for early 2026 processing. For millions of families and workers around the world waiting for green cards, standing by for interview dates, or planning their next filing steps, this bulletin offers a clear picture of where the system is headed. It's not just about what changed, but what continuity, modest advancement, and managed stability tell us about immigration timelines in the year ahead. In this video, we'll walk through the January 2026 Visa Bulletin, including family-based and employment-based priority date movement, where visa availability is improving, what this means for processing timelines, and why these updates matter for immigrant visa applicants and adjustment of status cases in 2026. If you are liking this video, please hit the bell button, subscribe, and like it so that you may get updates straight to your smartphone. Now, let's get into the video. The Visa Bulletin remains the monthly roadmap for immigrant visa number availability in the United States. It is published by the State Department's Visa Office and determines when applicants in both family-sponsored and employment-based preference categories may proceed with final approval of their green cards or adjustment of status. It shows two critical charts: final action dates and dates for filing applications. These dates are based on visa demand, priority dates, and numerical limits established by U.S. immigration law. When a date moves forward, it means more applicants become eligible to complete the next steps in their immigration process. When dates stay the same or retrogress, it signals continued backlog or high demand. Understanding this pattern helps families and employers plan strategically in early 2026. What's notable about the January 2026 Visa Bulletin is that it shows modest progress in a number of employment-based categories and relative stability in family-based categories, meaning the system is not regressing as it did in some months in 2025. This stability itself is a positive indication. It reflects a carefully managed visa allocation process, giving applicants predictability as they enter the new year. Let's begin with the family-based categories where the bulletin shows steady but limited movement. For example, in the F2A category, which covers spouses and unmarried children under 21 of U.S. permanent residents, the cutoff date moved forward by about a month for all chargeability areas. This kind of small but positive shift matters because it means more family applicants have dates that are closer to becoming current and can proceed with final action when their priority date is reached. Other categories, such as F1, F3, and F4, saw little or no change in many countries, including long-standing backlogs for countries with heavy demand. This continued backlog reinforces the reality that family-based immigration remains competitive and slow for certain regions. But the absence of any retrogression this month suggests a more stable state for family cases through early 2026. Now, let's turn to the employment-based categories, where the January Bulletin delivered some of the most encouraging signals in the EB1 category reserved for priority workers, outstanding researchers, professors, and multinational executives. The final action date for India advanced significantly, moving to February 1st, 2023. For all other countries, EB1 remains current, meaning visa numbers are immediately available to qualified applicants regardless of priority date. This kind of movement can help reduce long waiting periods for highly skilled professionals, particularly in technology, academia, and multinational leadership roles. In the EB2 category, covering advanced degree holders and exceptional ability professionals, the bulletin also indicates forward movement for all chargeability areas. For most countries, the final action cutoff dates advanced, giving additional breathing room to applicants who have waited years for their priority dates to become current. These shifts, while measured in months rather than years, reflect steady relief when compared to several earlier months of stagnation. EB3 also saw some gains, especially for India, where the cutoff date moved forward by about 1 month, a modest but definite indication that the system is progressing after long backlogs. Another positive element of the January Visa Bulletin is the treatment of the EB4 and EB5 categories. The EB4 cutoff dates moved forward slightly, and the EB5 unreserved category continues to advance for certain applicants, including India. This shows that visa numbers are being allocated and utilized across preference categories, even as demand remains high, and signals that immigrant investor categories and certain special immigrant preference categories continue to draw visa capacity without being frozen. Importantly, for applicants inside the United States pursuing adjustment of status, USCIS confirmed that for January 2026, the agency will use the dates for filing chart from the Visa Bulletin to determine when applications form I-485 can be submitted. This means that if your priority date is earlier than the published date in the filing chart, you may file your adjustment application within the month and potentially become eligible for related benefits like work authorization and travel permission while your case is pending. This alignment between USCIS filing dates and the Department of State's guidance can help some applicants maintain status and work authorization while they await final action numbers. Another aspect to emphasize is that the January 2026 Visa Bulletin shows no major retrogression or sharp backward movement in any of the primary visa categories. Retrogression, when a priority date moves backward, can be deeply frustrating for applicants because it effectively delays eligibility even further. The fact that the January bulletin avoided this kind of reversal is itself good news. It suggests a managed flow of visa numbers at the start of the calendar year, which could indicate steadier processing through mid-2026. Stable dates reduce uncertainty, especially for cases nearing current priority dates. Now, let's talk about what these signals mean for processing timelines in 2026. The combination of measured forward movement in certain employment categories, stability in family categories, and the absence of retrogression indicates a potential trend toward predictability. That doesn't mean long waits disappear. Rather, it means applicants and their attorneys can plan with more confidence, understanding that the system is not swinging wildly month to month. Predictable movement helps applicants file timely adjustment of status applications, avoid gaps in work authorization, and prepare for interview scheduling once priority dates are current for families and employers. These early 2026 signals also underscore the importance of case readiness. With dates holding steady or advancing, applicants whose documentation is accurate, complete, and filed promptly when their priority date becomes available are more likely to benefit from quicker processing times. Conversely, incomplete filings or missing evidence may face denials or delays that are harder to recover from in a system where visa availability is stable but still limited. Another important takeaway from the January bulletin is the continued impact of country caps on family and employment preference categories. Applicants from India continue to face some of the longest wait times due to high demand and per-country limits, while other areas benefit from earlier cutoff dates. This reality is not new, but the January 2026 bulletin reaffirms that priority date movement will likely remain slower for certain countries unless future legislative changes alter the system. Despite these persistent long backlogs, the positive indication we see this month is the combination of forward movement, filing flexibility, and lack of retrogression, qualities that were not guaranteed and which many applicants had feared might deteriorate. Instead, the January 2026 Visa Bulletin gives a clearer view of how the system is balancing immigration demand with numerical limits and assists applicants in planning their next steps. Looking ahead, the key message for families and workers is one of awareness and preparation. Understanding your priority date, knowing which chart to follow for filing, and tracking the Visa Bulletin each month will remain essential tools in your immigration journey. Being ready to act promptly when dates become current and ensuring applications are complete and accurate will be one of the most important ways to benefit from these early positive signals as 2026 progresses. That's all we have for this bulletin. The U.S. Update Immigration Channel provides all necessary visa information and procedures for your U.S. immigration journey. It is important to understand the United States immigration processing steps, visa application requirements, processing times, forms, fees, and more. We will continue to provide all information about U.S. visitor visas such as B1 and B2, work visas such as L1A, L1B, and H1B, student visas, green cards, immigrant visas, EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4 and EB5, and family immigrant visas. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the US Update Immigration channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.